Hey guys, it's Ashley from Bookholics Anonymous, and today I am doing a book talk on An Unkindness of Magicians by Cat Howard. So this was just kind of a book I saw. I really should write stuff down, but I didn't, and I cannot remember whose channel I saw this on. But I know there was a couple of channels, and I know there was one specific that I saw that talked about it, and that's what made me buy it, and I got it from Book Outlet. And I cannot for the life of me remember his channel. But since then I've seen it on a couple of different channels, and this year alone I've seen it on a couple mid-year book freakout tags. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna read that. So first off, this is kind of like it's not a YA because it doesn't deal with teenagers. It's more of a, I guess you could call it kind of called a new adult. I'm not really sure. But it does deal with magic and, like, yeah, it deals with magic basically. So what it is magic in this story is kind of like not known to certain people. So it's kind of I hate saying this, but it's kind of like the Harry Potter and Shadow Hunters in a way, because their magical world is hidden from the regular people who don't practice magic, and I really forget what they call the people that don't do magic. But their world is called the unseen world, kind of. And so I'm going to first start to go into this saying, there were so many character drops in this book. Paragraphs. Each paragraph. That is the word I have been searching for. I don't know why I could not think of it. Paragraphs. Like, each paragraph is like an opening almost to a new character at the beginning of the book. So there was the first one was Sydney is actually in my opinion, the main character. And then you have, and with her you have, I feel like there's something in my eye. You have Anne, who is a son of he's the son of the, the guy who is overseeing all of the magical world at this point, the beginning of the story. He's the son of almost the most powerful house. My computer's moving a lot, sorry. And so we have his perspective, then we have there's Sydney, then we have Harper, who is not a magician, but whose was a friend with one who kind of taught her the beginnings of becoming a magician and how to get into that world. So when Harper's friend dies under mysterious circumstances, she wants to get into the world and try to find the person who killed her friend. So that's where Harper comes in. And then you have Harper, and then you have Gray, who is the son to the next house, and that is the House Prospero, I believe. But he was disowned, or he disinherited the family and all their stuff. So he's got his own little storyline going on. And then you have, there's just Laurent, who is a magician who's trying to start his own house. So the houses are like the more powerful in the unseen world. So he's trying to start his own house. And his storyline is that he was kind of put into the world as a kid because at first he didn't know he was a magician. And so he was kind of forced into this school with all these magicians, and that's where he learned it. But that's kind of his storyline. So he's wanting to make his own house and try to set the world to his liking, I guess. I'm not really sure. And then there is Shara, I believe her name is. She's like the lady of the House of Shadows, which is a kind of like the villainous house of the world, of the unseen world, and they have her pushed off onto an island where hardly anyone can find her. And actually she's a big part of the story because that is part of Sydney's main story. There's just a lot of stuff, you guys, going on in this book, and at first when I saw all of that, I was like, my head's about to start hurting. I'm about to start getting confused as hell. And it's just so much going on. But, so kind of the bigger picture, the bigger story is that there is something called the turning that happens I don't even remember how many years. But this time around it happened like 13 years after the last one, which is rare, and everyone's like wondering why this happened. And so that's kind of where the story starts and where Sydney kind of falls into play. At the very beginning of the book, she's shown doing magic in the street, and that was like her interview to become I can't remember what they're called. Champion. I was thinking that, but I was like, no, that's what they call somebody else in another story. But anyways, she is giving an interview to become a champion for Laurent to start his house, like I said. And so of course she gets the job and she becomes the champion for his house. And you have all the other houses, House of Merlin, which is the house that oversees the magical world as of right the second. Then you have House Prospero, then there's other houses that they name a couple but not a whole lot. So these are the main two houses that get mentioned a lot. So House Prospero, their champion becomes Ian, who is the son of Merlin, the Merlin house. It's just a whole bunch of flip-flops. Like, everyone is changing houses and changing, it's just like hurting my brain at this point. But as we go on, it starts to get a little bit more enjoyable. There's like a plot twist. There's a plot twist in the story with one of the characters and who they are. And it's just, definitely didn't see that coming. And then you got, of course, I love Sydney. She's like I really adore her as a character because she's this like badass chick who is like doesn't care what anyone says, and pretty much does what she wants, and she's trying to also figure out who she is because she came from the House of Shadows, and she's still attached to the House of Shadows at this point and is trying to get away from that. And it's just, I actually really enjoyed Sydney's character. So she's a no taking shit kind of person from somebody, no taking shit from anyone kind of person. Yeah, I guess you could call it. I don't know. So I enjoy her because of that. And just, it was really good. I mean, I enjoyed learning about the magic and about the magicians, and like just reading it and trying to visualize them doing magic. Kind of gave me the, I'm trying to think. It gave me the vibes of, what is the movie? Doctor Strange. It gave me the vibes of Doctor Strange when they're all using their hands to like do stuff. And so during reading this book, that's what I envisioned, or that's what I pictured them doing with their hands, because that's how they did their magic. So I'm like, this is so familiar. And then I know there was some other things that I was imagining while reading it and while they were doing their magic. It was really odd, but I think I really enjoyed learning the plot twist about it. I enjoyed most of the characters. I really liked Anne, and how he kind of, in a way, fell for Sydney. And in an odd, weird way, I liked Shara, the shadows. It's just, I think the only thing that another thing that I had an issue with is the actual magic scenes and the duels of the magicians when they're in these duels with each other during the turning to try to figure out who is going to be the next house to take over. It just seemed like they went way too quick, or it's just the one magician did something, the other one did something, and then something would happen to stop the duel, and it would be like, why? I want to see these fights. I want to see this magic, and I want to see it fight against each other, and it didn't happen. Like, they were not enough action in the magic, I guess. I don't know. It's just something that I would have really enjoyed more to see, instead of a lot of drama that went on with it. But yeah. There's some other, I know there was others. Can't remember the other characters' names. I did not like Gray. Gray was an asshole. He was power hungry, and he wanted things, and he took things in order to get what he wanted, and I did not like him at all. And then, what are some other characters? The lawyer, I cannot remember her name for the life of me right now. Madison. Madison was the lawyer to all the magicians, kind of, or most of them, to like the different houses. She worked at a law firm. She was one of Sydney's friends who helped her learn stuff. I enjoyed her character and how she kind of put herself in that position. And then there was Vernice, who was the only other known magician to get out of the House of Shadows. Way before Sydney did. There was Miranda, who was the big boss of the House of Prospero. She didn't really bother me a whole lot. She was just kind of this rich, snobby person. You're just like, oh, you're one of them, okay. Merlin, the House of Merlin, didn't like him either. I didn't like him. But I don't know, there was just things about this book that I liked, things that I didn't like, and like any book, it's gonna have that. So I don't remember what I gave it on Goodreads, but if I had to say something now, it would probably be maybe a 3.5 to 4 star. I'm not really sure. I know there's another book coming out set in the same world, I think, so that would be kind of interesting. But yeah, so we're gonna stop this because this is a long ass video for a bunch of rambling that probably doesn't make sense to people. So, if you've read this, let me know what you thought about all the characters and info. And yeah, one thing is, I think this would make a interesting soap opera with all the characters and all their intertwining of the characters and how they all kind of meld together. It would definitely be an interesting soap opera, a magician soap opera. So yeah, keep that in mind, guys. Bye. See you next time.